What's happening, party people? In this episode of Throwback Thursday, I'll be cleaning up a video that I did, probably the first year I posted videos back in 2013. And it'll show you how to replace the front lower engine mount. The front of the engine on these P80 cars, 850 SV70s, is on the passenger side. There's a mount under the harmonic balancer that goes bad. When that mount goes bad, you can feel vibration in the steering wheel, and it tips the engine down a little bit to that side. Takes about 15 minutes. A good engine mount will last probably 5 to 7 years. So let's get started. Here's a list of all the tools and equipment I should need to get this job done. I got a thick pair of leather gloves, pair of pliers or adjustable jaw wrench I use to get that little nut off. I got a small scissor jack. I have a 2x6 that I put under the oil pan and support the motor. Sometimes when these mounts are really flat, and to get those side two bolts out, you have to lift the motor up just a little bit, take a little pressure off the mount to get it out. I got a 14mm socket. I have a 17mm socket, ratchet wrenches, and of course the new motor mount that I purchased. It was a Phoebe. And I use a Star lug nut wrench because I really don't like the Volvo lug nut wrench. You really should also have a set of wheel chocks that prevent the car from rolling when it's on jacks. They cost about $10. And a decent torque wrench from probably 20 foot-pounds up to 100 foot-pounds. That may cost you another $50. First thing you want to do is go on the opposite side of the vehicle and install the wheel chocks. If you don't have wheel chocks, put a piece of wood or something under there to prevent the car from rolling. Then open the doors, set the parking brake. Hopefully the parking brake works. Then you go on the side of the vehicle that has the engine mount. You remove the hubcap if it's a vehicle with steel wheels. You break the lug nuts loose. Then you jack the car up so that you can remove the wheel. I've already broke those lug nuts loose, and I jacked the car up slowly. When you jack the car up, the front and the back tire will come off the ground. Now I'm going to pull those lug nuts off, and I'm going to set a jack stand under there for safety. Lower the jack on the jack stand. That's where I position the jack stand. The next thing I'm going to do is take this little washer nut here off. Sometimes you can do it by hand. I'll put a little plier on it. Then I'll pull that fender well back, and you'll see the mount loud and clear from there. But as you can see, the wheel is off. Now's a good time to take a look at your brake pad. As you can see, this brake pad has a lot of meat on it. You can also try to wiggle that wheel since it's on the jack stand. See if there's any play in the control arm. There's your lower control arm there. This car only has a lower. I pulled this panel apart. You can see how it folds back, and when you see in there at the mount, you can see that this mount is a little flat, and it gives vibration in the steering wheel because it's resting on the bottom rubber part. But these two bolts, this one here and this one here, are 17mm, and the two holding the mount against the motor are 14mm. Next, I put my scissor jack under the oil pan with that piece of wood. I jacked the engine up a little bit to take a little pressure off the bolts. I pulled these two 14mm bolts loose. Then I jacked the engine up enough to get the 17mm bolts out. You could actually remove the 14mm bolts. As you can see, I have the two subframe mount bolts removed. I have the two bolts here on the side of the motor. They're also loose, finger tight. I put my little jack in place down here, supported under the oil pan. It's a little longer than I wanted, so I had to twist it sideways. So I'm going to turn it up just a little bit by hand, and I'm going to watch the motor lift up. I want that motor to maybe come up maybe a ½ inch, just high enough to take the pressure off those screws so that I can get them out by hand and get the new mount in. I'm going to take these bolts out, set the new mount in place, and go from there. I set the new mount in place. I set the two lower bolts in first, make sure it was lined up properly. Then I set the two side bolts in here, and I'm going to hand tighten them. Then I'm going to torque the bolts that are on the subframe because I have the clearance because the vehicle engine is on that jack. So I'm going to reach down here and lower this jack, get that pressure off of that oil pan, and you can see that there's a little bit of space, about 1/4 of an inch, between the bottom of that lower bolt and the rubber on that mount. I'm going to tighten those bolts. I had to double check on the torque value. I'll try to put that on the note. The torque value on those motor bolts, you know, my guess they're going to be around 25 foot-pounds. And then on these lower subframe bolts, probably around 45 foot-pounds. You can verify that. I got those bolts torqued. I'm looking at my CV joints. They look good. While I was tightening the bolts, I noticed that this brake hose, if you can see it here, the brake hose is cracked. So it might be a good time to take a peek at those brake hoses. But I'm going to talk to the owner about getting those brake hoses replaced sometime in the near future. So I'm going to tuck this thing back here and put this little washer nut on here, the little retaining nut on that. That could be hand tight, or you could snug it down with a pair of pliers or something. After you have that wheel skirt on, you want to make sure that you have that jack out of the way, the one that you use to raise the engine up a little bit. You want to set the wheel in place, put those lug nuts on, snug those down. Then you want to raise the jack up a little bit and get that jack stand from under the car. Then you lower the car to the ground, and then you torque the wheels on. Now, wheels, especially these steel wheels, sometimes don't sit all the way on properly when you torque them down after you lowered the car. So you want to take the car for a short drive, a mile or two, bring it back, and then torque your wheels one last time. That way you make sure that none of those lug nuts didn't seat right and are actually loose when you torque them. So do a second torque on there. Put your hubcap on, you're all done. Total process takes about 15 minutes to replace that mount. If you got any questions, post them below. I'll also try to find those torque values and put them in the description area below. Thanks for watching, be safe, and keep motoring. If you made it this far, I trust that you found some information that was either useful or entertaining, so go ahead and hit the like button. And if you would like notification of future videos that I post, please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support. You can follow me on other social media apps by looking for @RobertDIY. Some form of that should bring up the other channels that I have on places like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and so forth. If for some reason you need some more personal help, go to my website at robertdiy.com and use the phone number that I have posted there to send me a text message, or you can email me. If you have questions or comments, please make a comment below. And if you'd like to make some kind of financial contribution to what I got going on here, go to my channel and hit the More link at the end of the introduction statement, and it'll show you different ways that you can support me financially. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day.